Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Delaney, and for today's video we are going to be decluttering some more stuff from my collection. I already did lipsticks, powder, and bronzer, so go check that out if you have not already seen it. But we are going to be decluttering some face palettes today. So I do not have that many of them, so this will be a shorter video, but I wanted to do a dedicated video to each category, and that's what I'm going to do. And this is also going to be a little different because I think I'm going to be decluttering most of these. So if you like declutters where most of the things end up gone, this probably is for you. So if you're interested in seeing which face palettes are good to stay and which ones are getting kicked to the curb, then keep on watching. So I will go ahead and say that a good amount of these face palettes I either got at TJ Maxx or from a BoxyCharm, because I don't gravitate towards face palettes truly, but I do have some face palettes that I truly really love and get a lot of use out of, but we'll get to it. So first up, this one was from BoxyCharm. This is the Too Faced Cocoa Contour Palette. Ooh. And it is still like brand new because I never get use out of it. I am going to, I also forgot to mention that please don't ask me for this makeup. Everything that I am decluttering will have a home or a plan, so please do not ask me for the makeup I'm decluttering. It's just kind of awkward, so let's not do it. So, cool. Okay, so this one is pretty brand spanking new, so I'm going to give this to a friend. The powders are not bad quality in any way. I just don't really reach for this ever. And it's very heavy, so I don't like taking it in my makeup bag. So yeah, this one is going to be decluttered. It's not a bad palette at all, and it actually does have a good range in here. It has like fair, almost medium, and a little deeper. So, I mean, it has a range in here, which is pretty nice. I just don't find myself dipping into this hardly ever. It also smells like cocoa, and I'm not a huge fan of scented face products, so that's a declutter. Let's talk about this one real quick because this one's kind of complicated. So I got these in a BoxyCharm. 2 out of the 3 I got in BoxyCharm. One of them was given to me by a friend because she got it in Ipsy or something, and then she didn't get any use out of it, so she gave me the other one because she knew I loved it. I love this product so much. I don't tend to reach in it much anymore just because face palettes are not my thing anymore, but this got so much use. This is from Cover FX. And yes, there are 3 of the exact same palette. So this is the Perfector Face Palette, and this is the light one. They have a deeper toned one as well. So this one is the one that's less used. It has a finishing powder, a contour, 2 highlights, a brightener, and a blush. This is the perfect on-the-go makeup palette. The finishing powder I really loved. I got a lot of use out of. The contour, love it. It's the perfect contour shade for me. The highlighters are a little on the deeper end, but I do like using this one as a blush topper. This one I don't really have as much of a use for. It's just a little deep for me. But the brightener I used to use as an inner corner highlight. The blush is also really beautiful, and it comes with a mirror, and it's a really great traveling face palette. Now, the other 2, I clearly got a lot of use out of this, clearly. So I actually even used a lot of the highlighter in this one. So the finishing powder is what I usually hit pan on first, and then the contour. So when I hit pan on this, that's when I bought another one from a BoxyCharm pop-up sale, and it was very, 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 very discounted. So I really enjoy this formula, obviously. So much so that I bought another one from BoxyCharm, and I panned that one. So clearly the contour and the finishing powder are the go-tos in this palette, but the blush got a lot of use, the brightener got a lot of use in all 3 palettes. So I think what I'm going to do, since these ones that have hit pan are older than the other one, I am going to declutter the ones that I've hit pan. Only because they're the older ones, and I will keep the one with most of the product so that I have it if I want to reach for it. But I have gotten so much love out of this palette. Clearly, I have 3 of them. Even though I did not pay full price for all of them, I clearly really did enjoy every single product in this palette. So, yeah, I'm decluttering 2, keeping 1. Next up, we have also from BoxyCharm, but this was from a like pop-up sale and it was very heavily discounted. This is from Wander Beauty. This is a Trip for Two blush and bronzer duo. Ooh. So I used the bronzer a lot. I was not a huge fan of the blush formula. I found it looked a little patchy on my skin. The bronzer I used a bunch, but then it started getting these little like bubbles in it and I wasn't really sure what that was and it kind of deterred me from using it. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. I didn't spend that much on it. I'm not that attached to it, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter. Not my favorite formula. Also from BoxyCharm. Lord, like 90% of this is from BoxyCharm. I don't even know why I say that, but this one is from Aesthetica. It's a contour series cream contour palette, and this actually just came in my most recent BoxyCharm. I swatched these two on the far left here. I don't think any of these shades are going to work for me. I hoped these two would, but these are already too warm and deep. But this is way too warm, and this is way too deep if I'm going to use it as a highlight shade because of how fair I am. So I am going to find a new home for this, especially because I haven't even touched these other shades, and I can give this to a friend, and she can probably get some good use out of it. So, declutter. All right, we'll switch it up and do one that's not from BoxyCharm real quick. This one is from TJ Maxx. So this is from Kevyn Aucoin. This is the Jewel Pop Face and Eye Palette. And I don't really know if Kevyn Aucoin is still coming out with new makeup. I know they did that foundation balm a while ago. That was like the last thing I heard from them. So I'm not really sure what they're doing now. But this was at TJ Maxx and I got it probably a year or two ago. So it's even old now. It's even older now. I mostly used the blush and the sculpting shade. This is the same sculpting shade that was in that mini that I told you I loved in my bronzer declutter. I ended up decluttering it only because it was very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow shade. So I think that still reigns true. This blush is beautiful and it's like, it has two sides to it that you can make it a little bit more luminous. But I don't want to keep all of this just for these two shades, especially since I have a dupe for this pretty much in my collection. And this is the only eyeshadow that I really, really love from this group here. It is a really beautiful shade, but I also don't really reach for eyeshadow palettes mixed with face palettes, with the exception of one particular palette, which we'll eventually talk about. But I think I'm going to put that palette in the eyeshadow declutter, because that's what I use most from it. But I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. Let's talk PR real quick. We'll get that out of the way. These are from Pixie Beauty. I have two of their like quad face palettes. So we have Honey Nectar and we have Sugar Blossom. Both of these are incredibly similar, and I love the formula of both of these. I love the formula of both of these. They're very pretty, especially the highlighters. I love Pixie's highlighter formula so much. So these are, I kind of have to mix the two because they are a tad deep, but I also can use them as blush toppers. I don't remember which one was the one that I actually preferred of the two. I think it was this one, but I don't know. This one, I think the contour was it's a nudie blush. Yeah, this one's more of a nudie blush instead of a bronzer. This one's a bronzer. I really enjoy both of these, but I don't know if I should keep both of them because they're so similar. I think the one that I used most was this one. I can kind of tell from the pan and the highlight. This I used a ton. So I think I might keep this one. I don't know, but I can use both highlighters in this one. I will keep... I should keep one of them, not both of them. This is hard. You know what? Because I can't decide, I'm going to keep both of them for now. I really enjoy this formula of highlight. No, you know what? I don't need to. Well, no, I want to keep it. I want to keep it for now, because I really enjoy the formulas. So, and I really enjoy the colors too. It's just hard because I feel like I shouldn't keep both of them, but you know what? It's my collection anyway. I'm going to keep both. Plot twist. Okay, so let's just get the other Pixie one out of the way. So this is the Pixie and Promise collaboration. It's a shapeshifter palette. I love this so, so much. I talked about this in my ranking 2021 products. The deep shade I probably won't get use out of unless I'm doing makeup on a client, but these shades in particular I use all the time. This gold shade I use as a eyeshadow because it is beautiful, but it's definitely not a highlighter for me. But it is really beautiful. This pink highlighter works beautifully. It's very icy on me. I love it. And yeah, this shade in particular is my favorite for sculpting, and I kind of mix these two for bronzing, but I mix them with one of these powders just to lighten it up just a hair. This is a perfect like mix and match palette, and it's great for most skin tones. So I love having something like this in my collection, especially for a kit. So I'm definitely going to keep this, and I love Pixie's cheek palette formula. I don't know what is in that. It's so good. I love it. So I'm actually going to keep all my Pixie face palettes. Who am I? Okay. But yeah, all the Pixie stuff I got in PR, just as a heads up. But I still really, really love it. That doesn't take away anything from it. Okay, so next up. This one I'm going to keep. This one is from Online Makeup Academy. This is the one that came in the kit for the Online Makeup Academy, obviously. This is their Pro Line Contour Blush and Highlight Palette, and it has a beautiful like translucent powder, slightly pigmented yellow powder, and then a slightly peachier one. This one's a great contour shade, and then we have two like bright corally blushes. I'm going to keep this palette. I don't reach for a ton for the blushes, but for these powders, they're really, really nice, and it works for many different skin tones. It's not my favorite formula in the world, but it really does work, and it's perfect for a kit, so I'm definitely keeping. We do have a mini face palette here. This one is from Pure. So this one I got in a BoxyCharm. Shock, shock. Shock of the year. But this is in Fair Light. And this is beautiful. I just never reached for it. Like, ever. I got it in a BoxyCharm and never touched it again. The highlighter, actually stunning. Like, really, really pretty. It's just a little too deep for me. The blush, actually a beautiful color. But do I need to keep it just for that? I don't know. The bronzer, really beautiful color. Formula is not my 100% favorite, but also it's fine. It's good. And this brightening shade is a little too deep for my skin tone, so that's another reason why this palette doesn't really work for me. But I think I'm just gonna declutter this. I haven't touched it since I got it, which is a good sign that I should declutter. So I'm just gonna declutter. So this one I'm a little confused about. I don't know what I want to do with this. This is from True and Luscious, and this is their Lucky Glow Bronze and Highlight Palette. Again, I got it in a BoxyCharm. Shock of the year. This one has bronzer, blush, highlight, and just, it's gorgeous. Like, the formula is actually really, really beautiful, and the highlights are gorgeous. They're just a little on the deeper side for me, but the formula is actually really good. I don't really reach for it, though. That's the only thing. I never reach for this palette. You know what? Just because it's a good formula doesn't mean I need to keep it. I just need to use it. All right, I'm going to declutter this. The formula did impress me, though. So I will say, if you do get the chance to try it, it's pretty good. It's just if you're going to use those shades or not. Another BoxyCharm palette. Surprise, surprise. This is from Kenya Ontiveros Beauty, and I had never heard of this brand before, but I never reached for this. It's almost brand new, as you can see by the embossing. I love the highlight shade, but everything else I really don't need or want. These are too warm for me. This is too deep for me for a setting shade, and I don't need to keep this just for a powder and a highlight. So this is going to be decluttered. That was easy. Okay. So we have the Park Avenue Princess. I got this in a BoxyCharm. As you can see, all my face palettes I'm getting from a BoxyCharm. But actually this one I used a lot. Okay, so I'm not mad at this. I hit pan on Princess Cut. I could eventually look into getting a single if they had Princess Cut as a single, but I don't believe that they do. I feel like people have been asking Tarte for a Princess Cut single for a very long time, and they just never did. So I doubt that that's coming anytime soon. But these powders are beautiful. This like brightening banana powder and this light powder here, it actually works for my skin tone, which I love. Very rare to find that. But Princess Cut is a perfect contour bronze shade for me. I love it. These are a little bit more warm for me and I don't get as much use out of them. I think it is time to declutter this though, because it is very, very old. I don't even know if they sell it anymore. It's very large, very clunky, and just not for me anymore. If I'm gonna put something in a kit, it needs to be much more lightweight than this. And I wouldn't pack this in a makeup bag for just me, so I'm gonna declutter. Love the formula though. Speaking of love the formula, this is one of my favorite face palettes of all time. Of all time. Like, it's so, so good. And it's from Target. This is, they also have it at Walmart, I believe. This is from Physicians Formula. I love this palette. This is a limited edition glow face palette, and it has a exclusive shade of highlighter in here, and it also has a blush and a bronzer. I can put this in my makeup bag and be set. The only thing is this bronzer is slightly warm for me, but I can still make it work and it blends effortlessly. This blush is a great glowy blush formula. It's got a nice shine to it that gives some life to the skin. It's just a beautiful pink. And this highlighter, it's very soft, so you have to be careful. It's almost like Super Shock highlighter kind of formula, but it will fall out of the pan, so you have to be very careful. But let me see if I can swatch this. Can you see how gorgeous that is? It melts into the skin. It's so creamy. It has glitter in it, but it's not like chunky glitter. It is so stunning. I would keep this palette just for the highlight, but I also am in love with this blush. The bronzer is my only butter bronzer, so I like having it for comparison as well. If Physicians Formula has a lighter toned bronzer, I feel like I would like that better, but this is perfect. Like, I love this palette so much, even if it's just for these two shades, but I still do use the bronzer. I just have to go really light with it, but I hated the butter bronzer the first time I tried it, but in the single, because it smelled like Malibu and Regret, like that fake coconut scent I despised. It was giving me a headache. This one does not have that same scent, so I approve. If it did have that scent, it didn't have that scent when I got it. Like, I love this. And they need to stop putting crazy scents in their products, because I really don't like scented cheap products. But the formula though, the formula is so, so good. And I believe this was $10 and I've gotten so much use out of it. I could see myself hitting pan on the blush. It's harder to hit pan on the highlight, but I can definitely see myself hitting pan on this blush. So yeah, gonna keep. Next up, we have the Tarte Pro Glow palette here. This is also from BoxyCharm. Surprise, surprise. So you get 2 blushes, 2 highlights, 2 bronzers. One is more luminous, one's more matte, 2 highlighters, and a luminous blush and a matte blush. So the formula is not bad, but this is super old. So yeah, I don't think I should keep this anymore. It's very old. I don't know if they sell it anymore. I got this years ago in a BoxyCharm. I've had BoxyCharm for over 2 years now. And I got this, I think, in one of my first BoxyCharms. So I think I'm going to have to declutter this. But I did get some good use out of it. You can kind of see this shade was the one I used most. And I used the highlighters, especially this one. And then the blush a couple of times, but mostly this shade. So I can't keep it for one shade. It's done. Declutter. Last but not least, we have the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Mini Sculpture Unlocked palette. Very long name, but great palette. So this has 4 shades in it. It has a finishing powder, a highlighter, a blush, and a bronzer. All of these are like a radiant dream. The bronzer goes on super, super well. It's a very buildable formula, which I love. It has a nice radiance to it without being glittery. This highlight is spectacular. I love this formula so much. It looks like my skin. It just blends in so beautifully. The blush is beautiful. It's just a little bit on the darker side when you're putting it I don't know. It has an interesting tone to it. It's not like my go-to blush shade, but I really do enjoy the way it looks. It's very natural. Let me put it that way. It's like a natural flush. It's not like, oh, I'm wearing blush. So it does take a while to build, but it is a nice like radiant blush. And this finishing powder is great. I really enjoy their finishing powders. I don't know if you saw my powder declutter video, but I had a couple of the Hourglass powders, and yeah, they're very, very nice. So this is in shade Soft Light, the bronzer is in Bronze Light, the blush is in Mood Flush, and the metallic strobe powder is in Champagne Strobe Light. So if you want any of these in singles, these are what they look like. I believe every shade is available in a single, but yeah. The highlight and the finishing powder make this for me. The bronzer also is really, really good. The blush I sometimes use, but I usually use a different blush with this palette. But I'm going to keep this 1000%. I really do enjoy this product, and I enjoy the powder products from Hourglass. So yay, keep. I have 11 in the declutter pile and 7 in the keep pile. This is one of my few categories that I know I'm going to declutter more than I keep, because I just don't reach for them that often. So if I do reach for them, I need to make sure that they are formulas that I really, really know and love. I sadly get a lot of face palettes in BoxyCharms. I'm thinking of canceling my BoxyCharm because of that. Like, that's one of the reasons. But so I did actually declutter more than I kept, which is a first for me. So I hope you enjoyed this declutter video. I hope you found this helpful in some way. Please let me know if there's a face palette that needs to be in here that's not in here. One face palette that I know of that you probably are wondering where it is, it's going to be with the eyeshadows. It's from Natasha Denona. So just, yeah, wait for that one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day or night wherever you are. Please smash that like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.